My Fertility Path, brought to you by the Fertility Awareness Advocates Initiative.
It is proven that weight can have a profound impact on fertility, just as obesity is linked to a lot of health problems. Today, we will be looking at how our lifestyle decisions can affect the state of fertility. The show is My Fertility Path, and it's brought to you by the Fertility Awareness Advocate Initiative (FI). This is the only show where we share real stories, the struggles, the treatments available, and the joy that comes there and after. Perhaps, if there is joy. I am Nse Ikpe Etim. Welcome to the show. You're welcome back to the show. Today we are looking at how our lifestyle choices can affect our state of fertility or otherwise. And for this conversation, we are joined by our favorite Mrs. Tola Ajayi, a fertility counselor, sex therapist with over 3 decades of experience in the medical space. We also have our FR reliable and ready resident doctor, Dr. Bayemi Ajayi, the CEO of Nordica Fertility Center, and you are welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome, madam. Thank you so much again. So, doctor, in this segment, I want us to focus on obesity. How does this affect fertility?
Well, very nice question, because the way obesity affects fertility is that once you have excess fat, when we say you're obese, we're talking about your BMI, and we're talking about your weight in kilograms over your height in meters squared. And once this is out of range, what it means that you have excess fat in your body. Mm-hmm. Now, the way this happens is that this excess fat produces some hormones that trick your brain into thinking that you have excessive hormones that just want to keep, that make you now affects your ovulation. So you don't ovulate regularly when you are obese. So the way obesity affects infertility actually is through ovulation. It prevents you from ovulating regularly.
So I have a follow-up question. What is the direct body mass index?
Okay, between 18 and 25 is regarded as normal. If above 30, it's really
obesity.
It's obese. Yeah,
and that is okay. So does obesity have a role to play in menstrual irregularities?
Sure. When you don't ovulate regularly, your menses can become irregular.
Right. And that can in turn affect you.
Of course. Because once you're not exposed to the risk of pregnancy by releasing an egg every month, which the sperm needs to meet with, then it's been difficult to get pregnant.
This is where people say, "Oh, I haven't seen my period this month,"
yeah.
And then sometimes you think you're actually pregnant. Meanwhile, you're not pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
You just haven't ovulated for that month.
Mm-hmm.
So, what about infections?
Yeah, infections also affect because in this environment, the commonest reason why people have infertility in women is blocked tubes, and the greatest player to that is either badly treated or untreated infections. And also for men, there is a lot of things that infection will also cause. So just like the weight also affects men, also does it affect women. And it's the same thing infection does.
So what kind of infections will we be talking about?
In this environment, we talk about gonorrhea, we talk about chlamydia. Those are the 2 commonest things. Yeah, in this environment.
What about syphilis?
Fortunately, syphilis is going down drastically because the campaign against syphilis many years ago has reduced the incidence of syphilis, but you still have once in a while.
Can a yeast infection, for instance, maybe like Candida?
Very fantastic question, because that's one thing we get asked all the time. And Candida does not cause infertility. Candida stays in the vagina.
Yes.
Okay? The vagina is not where the fertilization takes place. So if the infection that cannot go up does not normally cause infertility.
So it's only if it's uterine?
Yeah,
and
tubal.
And tubal. Okay.
Because yeast infections usually just stay in the vagina.
Mrs. Ajayi, when you have, how do I put this now? Saying that being obese, or rather, let me use a more friendly way of putting it, because obesity can sound like
body shaming.
Like body shaming, and over all around the world, we're being told not to say, oh, you're obese. We say he's struggling with his body weight, trying to make it sound nice. I understand that, because body shaming can also cause one to go into a shell. So how are you able to make people see this as a condition or a disease, rather than I'm just body shaming you?
Well, in terms of obesity and fertility,
yes,
I don't think body shaming should come into this.
Okay.
Because the reality is, one is not able to get pregnant because you're obese. So there is no two ways in saying it. One is not, I'm not happy because you are fat. I'm not saying you are fat for the fun of it. I'm saying you are fat, and that's why you cannot get pregnant. So you need to do something about it. So body shaming is not even
doesn't come to play.
At all.
But what if my mental state makes me feel that what you're saying to me is body shaming me? This is, I'm assuming this is where you come in as a counselor.
Yes. Most times people come into the clinic when they're obese, and because they're coming from the aspect of people telling them all the time, you are fat, you are fat. So it's almost like she's ashamed. So when she comes into the clinic, I'm focusing on the fertility. I'm not focusing on the obesity, but I'm telling her, you have to lose weight for us to be able to get the desired result. So in that case, she's not seeing me as attacking her weight.
Okay.
But seeing me as someone who wants to help her to achieve pregnancy by telling her to lose weight.
To lose weight.
Yeah. One thing I also want us to point out is that it's not only obesity that can cause infertility.
Okay.
Being underweight also can cause infertility.
It can go both ways.
So
Low BMI or high BMI.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, two extremes can cause it. Wow, we've heard so much about how obesity or being underweight and infections can affect the state of fertility. This is My Fertility Path, and we have more when we come back. You're welcome back to the show, and you're still watching My Fertility Path. We still have Mrs. Tola Ajayi and Dr. Bayomi Ajayi with us, and we have been talking about the importance of making the right lifestyle decisions. Before the break, what role obesity plays in infertility. Now, it's not just obesity, it's also being underweight. Did you know that obesity can contribute to infertility or being underweight? Let's hear what you have to say.
To an extent, obesity can cause infertility from both sex, from both the male or the female, because obesity, as if I can understand, is overweight, so it can actually block some areas of the womb and it may cause infertility.
Oh yeah, I feel obesity is one of those things that can make you infertile, because obesity on a normal day is not really good for the body. It causes a lot of obstructions, so obviously it's going to cause infertility.
Fat is is something else on its own. You know, carrying a child is another different thing on its own. So much
put on so much weight, it's kind of difficult for you even to have sexual intercourse too. It can also pose a problem, because you're not really comfortable in your size. You're not really flexible, so it's kind of difficult. Then everything is pressing down on your womb or your uterus. So a little bit of exercise here and there would actually help.
I read some article a while back about how a woman's weight and all the rest and obesity can influence her fertility. That's why you see a lot of women going for all diet program and everything. So I'm really not that vast in that area, but it's something that I've come across. But I've not done my own research personally to see the impact that can have on a woman's fertility, that obesity actually can have on a woman.
So let's talk about other vices. For instance, smoking. I'm going to talk about two kinds of smoking and ask you about them. So there's nicotine and then there's marijuana. Do these affect fertility?
Y-E-S.
Y-E-S, he says. Yes.
For both.
For both.
For both of them.
Yeah, they both affect fertility.
They
in men and women.
And in women. So it is advisable that if you're trying for a baby, you must quit smoking.
Yeah.
What about sexual practices? Are there any specific kind of deviances that can cause infertility?
Yeah, I guess we know that infections, anything that promotes infections, can knock off fertility in both the man and the woman. And so why it's I really don't want to mention but anything that predisposes you to infection, either multiple sexual partners, putting something somewhere it does not belong to.
That would be anal sex.
So those are things that can predispose to infection.
Okay.
And therefore we ask people not to indulge in it. Okay. And then, of course, like you mentioned, hard drugs probably also promotes.
There's coke. There's we need to try and stay away from substance abuse.
Yeah, exactly. Substance
generally.
Abuse. Yeah.
Okay.
But when we're talking about lifestyle, one thing we need to talk about, which we always come back.
Tell me age.
Age.
I knew that.
You know why? Because
happen.
Lifestyle factors are the only factors of the causes of infertility that you are in control of, including age at which you start a family. So, and that's why we're here to tell people what they are in control of.
Early bird.
Exactly.
So, if you want a family, you need to start early.
Exactly.
Or do the right thing by freezing your eggs.
Or do exactly.
That's an option.
That's another option.
That's another option. Yeah. Okay. I love coffee.
Oh, yeah. I do.
Does caffeine intake affect?
Actually, it does.
Oh, no.
When you are trying to get a baby,
yes,
you are advised not to exceed 500 grams of coffee per day.
Per day.
And
how
that's
many
about 2 cups?
2 cups of coffee.
So
would that be espressos or would that be long coffees?
Long coffees, I guess.
Long coffee. Look at you. You love your coffee. Doctor, I got you there.
So yeah, it's fortunately I'm not trying.
But can it cause abortions? How about that?
Oh yeah, that's also been associated with miscarriages as well. So excess of anything is bad. So especially when you're trying to get a baby.
Okay.
So be of best behavior around this time.
And then you can start off your vices later.
If you must.
If you're not breastfeeding.
Exactly. If you're not giving the baby again. So yeah, they're things that, and we've seen that so many times.
Yes.
There was a patient that we had IVF for, and she was smoking, and she didn't tell us. We asked, and she didn't tell us, and she did very poorly. Oh. Fortunately for her mom is educated, and so she came to the clinic and said, "Did she tell you that she smokes?" Good. And that was it. So we spoke to her, blah, 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 blah. and then she stopped smoking for that period. And the next treatment, she had a baby.
She had a baby.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people that had to drop one or two things or to fix some things in their lives before getting pregnant. We've talked about weight, we've talked about smoking, you know, and even just exercising, you know, sometimes can also help to induce ovulation.
So, and then, so like you rightly said that you speak to those people to get off the addictions. So do you find that people are stuck? Because it is quite hard to break a habit. So how do you go about helping these people to break habits?
Well, it's one thing to understand the importance of doing something for something. You are not just breaking the habits because you want to break the habits. You want to break the habits because you desire to have a child. If having a child is important to you as you claim, then as much as possible you want to try to do what is necessary. So most times they comply around that time. Yeah, some people,
fair enough.
It may be difficult for some people, especially smoking. Yes. Especially men. Women, it's easy to say, okay, I'm going to stop smoking because I want to have a child. Don't forget the effect of not having children is more on the women than the men.
Okay.
But for the men, sometimes it can be difficult. They can come to the clinic and tell you, okay, I've stopped smoking. But you know from the quality of the sperm, something is still wrong.
Because it shows.
It shows.
So our habits show.
Yeah,
our habits show.
It's difficult for the men. For the men.
I'm sure
so the motivation is different. That's
for both genders.
Yeah.
When we return, we will take some of your questions around lifestyle choices when it comes to fertility. Please stay with us. You're still watching My Fertility Path. Welcome back to the show. And I've got loads of questions from social media. And then someone has asked, what are the lifestyle changes I need to make to boost my fertility?
Well, I think it's all what we've been discussing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so if it depends on who you are, man or woman, yeah. But if age, I'll come back, especially if you're a woman, is number one. But even for men,
yes.
Even for men, that if you are like you've not started raising a family by 45, you should expect that the time interval to get your wife pregnant is going to be longer.
What if a man is 52, 53 and he has a much younger wife? Does it help?
Unfortunately, it does not completely compensate because the sperm still has to do its work, just like the egg has to do its work. Yeah, but it's really very tough if the two of them are almost the same age. But even with younger women, it's still going to take a longer time. So age, we've spoken about nutrition, what you eat. Yes. Okay, we've spoken about the kind of exercises that you need to do, some light exercises. And also, there's some vocations that can lead to infertility. You know, there's some things that have been discovered that people who work in petrochemical industries, sometimes they have some issues with fertility. There was a time that a study was done in France which showed that people who work in gas stations, usually over a prolonged period of time, some things have been done about people who work in paint industries. You know? So that's
paint for the homes.
Yeah, because of
those fumes can be
volatile things that come. Yeah, and also, of course, locally, anything that also increases the temperature around the testes can affect fertility.
So are you saying that a warm bath is not a good thing for a man?
Well, especially when you're faced with the struggle of you're trying to get your wife pregnant, sauna, all these things, you
have to skip them.
You know, so because anything that increases the long distance drivers, for example,
like trucks and
that increases the temperature around the testes, also are things that you need to watch out for.
Okay.
So yeah.
And also, some people talk about stress as a cause of infertility. Stress itself is not a cause of infertility.
Okay.
But if you are stressed, you can eat more, for instance.
So you do stress eating.
Yeah, you can eat more, you know, and of course that leads to obesity in you know,
excess
the
body
sense
weight.
of it. Yes. So stress itself is not a cause of infertility. But of course, if you are trying to get pregnant, we advise that you stay off stress. Distress
You
yourself.
distress yourself. So someone else has asked a question. It says, talking about lifestyle, I want to go for my doctorate degree, but I'm already in my late 30s. How does this affect my chances when I am ready?
Freeze your eggs. Because,
freeze your eggs.
Yeah, because by the time you're about in your late 30s already, fertility declines in women from about age 35.
I need to ask a question. So I remember some lady, she had kids when she was very young. Her first 2 kids were really early, maybe about between 14 and 16, thereabouts.
Interesting.
And after that, she goes to school. But because she was very big on hockey, for some funny reason, she didn't have a child after her second child for like, or rather have after, but 6 years. Could some form of sport affect people?
Yes, but it's really extraneous exercises.
Okay.
For example, ballet dancers, people who really, gymnasts who really
Horse riders too? Like equestrians?
Well, it depends on how you exert yourself. The whole thing is about how much you exert yourself. That's if it can lead to infertility.
Okay.
By disturbing your ovulation. Just, you know, just like we said, your hormones can be distorted by over-exercising.
Okay, I need to ask a question. Now, we are talking about lifestyle. There's loads of that everyone wants to, in quote, keep fit. Now, you do have young men who are stuck in the gym working out, and they take all kinds of supplements. Some of them take them because they want their muscles to look glorious. Does this affect fertility?
Of course, because many of them are hormonal preparations.
And I have my people laughing, but it's okay. Keep laughing. Let's go.
Because what do they call supplements?
Yes.
Some of them are hormonal preparations. They're taking testosterone in different formats, and then they pack the muscles, but
like Igbo people say, it's akubi.
But it has consequences.
It does have consequences, and I hear it's not just physical. It can also affect the heart.
It can affect everything.
Everything. We have been talking about how our lifestyle choices can affect the state of fertility. Thank you all for watching. And remember, always remember, infertility should never, never, never define you. See someone, speak to someone today. My name is Nse Ikpe Etim. Keep sharing, keep educating, and I will see you next time. And thank you so much for watching.
My Fertility Path, brought to you by the Fertility Awareness Advocate Initiative.